checking in. Christian Ballard at Ballard Sports Media, trying to get through this off season with you guys for college football. Trying to get these team previews out and rolling. We've done a couple so far. I think I kind of noticed something that I messed up on this week, and I think I just updated. But so far what we have is I had looked at Georgia's schedule the other day, but I wanted to kind of redo it and kind of go a little bit more in depth on Georgia. So I just took the other one down. We're going to redo it here. But so far we got Alabama, LSU, Indiana, Clemson, and this will be our fifth overall, but third SEC team. We're just trying to get these out, trying to get them going. Usually I do something in the summer called Conference Week in June, and we preview some teams there. I'm going to see what I can do about that this year, get some great guests and all that, and try to plan a fun week of college football content in the summer. So we'll see what we can do there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Georgia. This is a team last year that had a really fun season, 12-2 overall, 8-2 in SEC. They lost to Alabama the first time around at home. Really good, entertaining game, 24-21. Then they lost. They didn't lose until the quarterfinal after getting a first round bye. They beat Alabama in the SEC title rematch. They also struggled in some games throughout the season, like Florida or Georgia Tech. But all in all, Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, I think he looks good. I think the defense looked pretty good last year. I think the team was just really, really good. It's kind of that in game coaching that Kirby Smart just kind of, I don't even know what it is. You'd have to ask the Georgia fans, but uh, uh, I guess there are some things, even though he's won them two championships, it does kind of rub him the wrong way a little bit when he comes to making critical decisions in the game, or maybe it's coordinator. I don't know. Y'all talk to the Georgia fans. But anyway, that that aside, really good season for him. 12-2 overall last year. Lost in the quarterfinal to Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl after getting that first round bye. 39-34 there. In New Orleans, Ole Miss goes on to lose to Miami in the semifinal. And then you come into 2026, and I kind of want to go a little in depth on these teams with like what they have returning and everything, and I haven't done a good job of doing that so far. But according to Mark Weiser from Athens Banner Herald on Bulldogs Extra, he kind of projected the depth for the offense for 2026. And this is none of this is official, but just to kind of name some names that we know of from last year. Um, Really, one of the only returning wide receivers is going to be London Humphreys. Um, and then you'll have a lot of guys back on the offensive line: Ernest Green, Daniel Calhoun, Dontrell Glover, Drew Bobo. Gunnar Stockton's going to come back at quarterback. Behind him, they're projecting Ryan Puglisi and then Ryan Montgomery, who have been recruited lately and have potential, have talent, but Nate Frazier at running back, Chauncey Bowens, Dante Dowdle at running back there. I could keep going. Lawson Lucky at tight end. Georgia's been known to put really good tight ends like Oscar Delp and Brock Bowers and company in the NFL and put them really just have them have great careers at Georgia, and then it's kind of one of those hit or miss things with the NFL. But I guess Brock Bowers is at least doing okay so far. I think he ended up with the Raiders or somebody. Anyway, but yeah, it is. It's going to be a fun year for you Georgia Bulldogs. I'm not here to rip on you guys like I have in the past. I'm not here to roll my eyes and get annoyed at Kirby. I'm kind of past that. I've accepted that if there is a new head coach in college football, which he's not new, he's been around for 10 years, but if there is a new set standard of what coaching should look like, after Nick Saban retired a few years ago, there is no doubt in my mind it's Kirby Smart in Georgia. He could leave Georgia today and take over, like, I don't know, Florida State, something like that, right? Hypothetically speaking. He might not win you a title in the first year, but he'll damn sure turn your program around really quickly and get it going. He's just that motivated. So I look at Georgia; they got a lot coming back. Let's look at their schedule for 2026, and we're going to do that. So look at this schedule here. They got the G Day spring game coming up in Athens on April 18th, which I believe is also Alabama's A Day scrimmage as well. They open up the season Saturday, September 5th with Tennessee State. Then they play at home against Western Kentucky. Those games should be no problem. At Arkansas, got to double check Arkansas later in the off season. I think is Bobby Petrino still coaching there after they let Sam Pittman go, or was he just this last year? I don't know, but I don't expect much from Arkansas. I have high expectations for teams like Oklahoma, but that should be no problem for Georgia. I mean, it might be a fun game to watch and could have potential for college game day or whatever. But Georgia will find a way to win at home. Vandy at home could be a fun game to watch, but again, we'll see. At Alabama, um, I mean, my Bama bias shows, but Alabama's got a lot of question marks right now to figure out, especially when we don't know who their quarterback's going to be between Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, guys like that. Auburn, first year head coach Alex Golish, Deep South's oldest rivalry in October here on the 17th. This is in Athens for Georgia. Perfect timing for a bye week. You got to face the Florida Gators in Atlanta from Jacksonville, or the game was in Jacksonville for quite some time, still staying at neutral site, but moving to Atlanta. And John Summerall, I believe, is the new head coach at Florida from Tulane or somewhere like that. So they got a new head coach, but they got some holes to fill. That's another team we'll look at down the road. Ole Miss, Pete Golding comes in. Lane Kiffin now at LSU. What do they look like post Lane Kiffin? We saw that a little bit in the playoffs, and it looked spectacular. But now you have a whole offseason to prepare. You got to bring in some new guys for Ole Miss. Again, all these other teams we'll look at down the road, but I mean, there's going to be a couple trap games and challenges for Georgia. Missouri, probably don't expect much, but we'll see. At South Carolina, it's a big border war rivalry there going to Columbia. Um, South Carolina did find a way to win in 2019. It was in Athens, I think, but again, another team to look at down the road. Probably not going to expect much from them. Maybe there's 6 or 7 wins, but are you going to bet that one of those wins is against Georgia? Probably not. And then in Athens, the clean old fashioned hate with Georgia Tech and the Yellow Jackets and Brent Key. I'm high on what they can be. I'm high on Brent Key. I'm high on Georgia Tech and what they have coming back even this year. Again, I still got to look at them and say that, this is ultimately going to be a team that we'll preview and look at. And look, overall, I think Georgia's in a really good position. I I give the Atmos record prediction, and it's hard to come up with this, but honestly, because of what they have returning, because most of their tough games outside of maybe Alabama are going to be at home, um, there's just no reason for me to pick Georgia to finish. Like, I mean, they could run this schedule. They could be dangerous. They worry me. they're going to Tuscaloosa, right? It's a game to circle, buddy. What if Alabama doesn't have it figured out there? Could Georgia go in there and just dominate? Probably. They're going to be hungry for a title. They really are. They got guys like Lawson Lucky back at tight end, Nate Frazier at running back, Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. I mentioned it's just there's so much on that offense. But my initial thoughts here with this schedule record prediction, I don't know where the loss is. I'm not really going loss by loss and being specific with those. But if I go for a ceiling for Georgia, the sky's the limit. I'm gonna say 11-1 record prediction at most. They could go 10-2. They could probably mess around and screw up somewhere. Maybe they go 9-3. I don't know. But don't be surprised if you see Georgia back in Atlanta for yet another SEC title, back in the playoffs, and competing for a national title. Gotta hear from you guys on that in the comment section. I love y'all. Jesus loves you. Keep your head up. God bless. Let me know what teams you want to see me do next in these team previews, and we'll get them out. So we're trying to get all the Power Four this off season if we can. That's something I never want to quit on. We've never done it before, but we'll see. Love y'all. Have a good night. God bless. We'll see you.